Hey guys, I'm Sarah Kupcho. I'm going to be your professor for this online version of Introduction to Political Science, 10-week summer term. I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm going to be posting supplemental materials generally on Mondays, although because this is the first time, we're meeting, this is going to be posted on a Sunday, just for future reference. If you're looking for the supplemental PowerPoint or my video, it's going to generally be on Mondays rather than on Sundays. So let's just go over a couple of basics for the class. I've pulled up the syllabus here. Again, 3301 Political Science, summer session. That's why I'm at home in my office with my Clint Eastwood poster behind me, because we all like to work from home. This is going to be our textbook. There's actually two versions. This is the 13th version. I only have it because it's cheaper. You're more than welcome to also purchase it because it's cheaper. The 14th edition looks, I think it's got like columns on the cover. I've got one of those as well. It doesn't matter to me if you're using the 13th or the 14th. It's the same material. Sometimes the chapters are a little bit mixed up, but you can generally see based on what we're doing the week which chapter will correspond with that. You could also use the ebook, although a student had asked me if it was free. I don't know that this one is free. In my experience, it has not been, because generally it's from Pearson. So I don't have any information about that cost. But it, again, doesn't matter to me. However is cheapest for you guys. The 13th, used edition, the 14th, or the online version, they're all acceptable to me. Let's see. Let's go down a little bit. So you're going to have generally 4 things to do each week. 2 discussions. Okay, you're going to need both of which are going to be 20 points each, so a total of 40 points per week for your discussions. An assessment, which is 10. Sometimes it's multiple choice, sometimes it's short answer. And then a quiz every week. The quizzes are multiple choice. There's 10 of them. They're 3 points each. The final week will be dedicated to a final exam, and I'll show you in a minute the outline on Blackboard of how that's going to be broken up. And we're going to go through a point system. It's much easier to do in that way, so you can keep track of how many points you have and what you need in order to get like the A or B or C. And you can see that here on the syllabus, so if you have any questions about where you stand, just check how many points you have in your total points column, and check what you need in order to get the grade you want. I measure attendance using the discussion forum. So you're going to be required to post 3 times in each thread. So you'll need to make an original post, which is answering a question from the prompt. So I'll give you a prompt, and then you respond with an original post. And then the following 2 can either be original or they can be responses to your peers' posts. So if you read through them and you see that somebody said something and you'd like to comment on that, that can count as one of your 3 as long as you have made an original post already. And you'll need to do that for both threads, so that's a total of at least 6 posts per week. I'd like for those to be on different days. It just would make things easier for you to keep things going so you don't forget material from the week earlier. So perhaps you want to Wednesday make your original post, and then Friday make your 2 replies. That would probably work just fine. And I have a little rubric for what I'm looking for. Understanding the concepts of that week, scholarly outside materials. If you choose to integrate outside materials to help you respond to the post, you're going to need to cite those so it's not considered plagiarism. Just make sure you do that. I don't care what kind of citation method you use. APA, MLA, Chicago, none of that matters, as long as you're consistent. And you're expressing your opinions clearly and logically, in a meaningful way. So a meaningful dialogue is it, I agree with your post, and then have that be the end, and that's not a sufficient response to a discussion. Okay. These generally, the classroom decorum, are for my face-to-face classes, but it does apply equally to your online discussions, because sometimes we are going to discuss things that are slightly more controversial, like welfare or social policy. Please be sure to respect everyone's views on that. Nobody is right or wrong. These are strictly subjective opinion questions. Okay, and that's the whole point of having a discussion. So make sure to try and keep everybody, cordial and respectful of each other. I generally like to have a minimal role with the discussions. I don't like to kind of dominate them. I think it's for student learning. So I do read each and every individual post. However, I will probably only respond to a few of them if I feel like it needs, if it warrants my response. But generally, I do not respond. I will help the discussion with several posts throughout the week, usually about 3, just to kind of keep things going. But don't expect me to be responding to each and every one of the posts. The discussions are largely for y'all. Okay, let's move on here. I think that's generally everything from the syllabus that I wanted to discuss. This is the best way to contact me, is email. I will check my email Monday through Friday several times a day up until about 5. So if you email me in the morning, you're very likely to hear back from me relatively quickly. However, if you email me about 7 or 8 at night, it's going to be the next day before you hear anything back. Similarly on weekends, I try to get them the same day, but give me 48 hours on weekends. This is summer. I generally am not on campus during the summer, but I am more than happy to meet you if you'd like to meet face to face or have something to discuss that's not going to be via email. I'm also happy to do it on the phone or web conference or whatever you guys want. This is summer, so it's a little more flexible. Again, this is my work from home office, so you'll probably also see my little baby daughter running in here from time to time when I post supplemental materials each week. But please let me know. I'm happy to meet with you in any way that is easiest for y'all. Phone, in person, online, whatever it may be. So let me show you generally the Blackboard layout of this course. So this is the dashboard, okay? The announcements, you're going to need to check these regularly because it's how I'll communicate material to the whole class. Also, when I post supplemental material, you'll see that from time to time I'll post helpful PowerPoints or modules that might help supplement the material that you're going over in your lesson that week. I know one time I post Federalist Papers in Modern Language. That's a little bit easier to read than the Federalist Papers as they are now that are in your book. I'll also post PowerPoints that help explain things a little bit more in depth. Things like that. Those will be posted right here on the My Announcements area. So check that regularly. It'll also give you like here's what's due, etc., etc. So when you first get here, again, you can find the syllabus. I'm sure you guys are mostly familiar with this, but you can find it here on the syllabus tab, and you can just download it here. But really, you're going to be mostly working from this course content page and this discussion board page. So if you click on course content, you'll see that I have it broken down from weeks 1 through 7. Weeks 8 and 9 are going to be dedicated to 2 outside books. The first one is Alexis de Tocqueville's Democracy in America. And the week 8 is Robert Putnam's Bowling Alone. You do not need to go buy those books. Whatever sections that I'm going to have you guys read, I will post for you. The books are like this thick, so don't worry about it. But I will post those for you guys on those times. Also, if sometimes some of these get a little bit more exciting and I think that maybe we need more time to go over them, I like to reserve those last couple of weeks for going over material that maybe we want to reinforce. One of them is the media, Robert Putnam's Bowling Alone, and that tends to get a little bit more interest. So we like to have a buffer. And then final week 10 will be reserved specifically for taking the final online. So how you're going to navigate the course is just whatever week it is. You'll want to click on the module for that week, and you can see that it gives you all of these. Now, it's not going to let me click over here because I have to go in order of which I've posted them. So it keeps saying click to launch here, but don't do it because nothing's going to pop up. See, it's blank. I don't know how to get that off. But you'll see here that it's a little introduction. What are we talking about this week? What can you expect? Here are our objectives to make sure that you understand what we're going to be discussing. And then it'll let you move on to the next one. After that, I've got a lesson for you, which I've kind of consolidated what you need to focus largely on from the chapter that we're going over, or maybe the chapters that we're going over. And these provide a really great guide for how you should be reading. So if you're just kind of reading the chapter and don't really know what to do with the material that you're reading, try and follow along with this lesson, and it'll help navigate for you. Okay? And then it gives you a little summary. Then it has your 2 discussions, okay, and those have prompts there. You'll see that this is a little prompt. This is what I want you to respond to. And then you will need to open that up separately, okay? Create a thread, and then, I also like to do it in Tree View. It's just easier for me, but if you prefer List View, that's fine. And when people start posting, you'll see that there's going to be a thread there. Okay, so let's go back. You'll need to do that for both 2 threads. Go all the way back. Okay, so there's politics in our daily lives. The study of political science, and then second, prompt politics in our daily lives. You'll need to post 3 times by Sunday for each of those posts. After you've done the discussions, it'll have what you need to the actual reading, right? Oops. And so for this week, we're going to be focusing largely on politics and political science from chapter 1. So before you complete the assessment, you'll need to do the lesson and the reading, okay? And that'll be right here. Make sure to read these 2 things before you complete the week's assessment. And there is an assessment and a quiz each week. For this particular assessment, you'll see that there is going to be an outside source, the Political Compass. Okay, so I clicked to launch that external source, and it provides you with this Political Compass. Some of you guys might have taken my class before and been familiar with it. You'll know that if you click take the test and then entirely fill it out, it'll provide you with some coordinates that'll help you answer the first 2 questions of the assessment. So if you look at the assessment, you get to it, and it asks you for numbers left, right, up, down numbers, and you don't have them, ask yourself if you have completed the political spectrum quiz yet. That is required in order for you to finish the assessment. So you'll see that a couple of times here. Go to this before you fill out this, before you begin this assessment. Click Open Week 1 Assessment, and it'll tell you go ahead and begin. I'm sure you've all taken quizzes online before, so you can be familiar with how to do that. And the same thing with the quiz. All of the assessments are going to be worth a total of 40 points. All of the quizzes are going to be worth a total of 30 points. Okay? And that's generally how it's going to go each week up until week 7. Not every assessment has a external source, but each one, generally you have to read the activity before you complete the assessment. Okay? If we go back here, let's see, I think that should do it for that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that you guys need to know. Click the assessment, do that. When it gets closer to the final, I will post a study guide for you guys. And these, you can open them all, but you might see that there's no quiz and no assessment here. It's because I want you guys to generally try and maintain a steady pace. So I'll open those on Monday morning for you guys to complete those assignments. So you can move ahead. I don't suggest you do, because I'm not going to open up the assessment and the quiz until the Monday of the week that it's due. So if it's due by Sunday at midnight, then I'm not going to open it up until that Monday before. Okay? I think that's all I needed to say. You can go straight to the discussion boards if you use this discussion boards tab under Tools. You can see that we have them. There's 2 on this week already. Just wanted to test it out, and those are both through me. This is the prompt, and this is my first post. Okay, so I went ahead and put this here. It asks for a subject. I don't care what your subject is. Maybe it's the first sentence of your post. It doesn't matter to me. If you are interested in this and you don't really know how to respond to the prompt before, these generally help form a response for you guys. So you could reply to it or quote from it and then reply. However you want to do it is totally fine. Let's see. I think that should be it. Right here you'll see Blackboard messages. Try not to use that if you're trying to communicate with me, because it doesn't send me a notification if you have sent me a message. If I move my little box here, I'll go up and I have 89 different, those aren't messages, so it'll just go to like 90, 91, and I won't actually know that it's not just, an update from Blackboard or something like that. So I'd prefer if you just send me an email. Again, my email's right here, sarahcupcho@Tamusa. I can get it from my phone. That's the best way to get a hold of me. I hope that I've answered all the questions that you guys might have had about the course. It's fairly open and shut. I do know for week 1 also that I have posted a getting to know you section. Let me see if I can open that up for you guys. Maybe I didn't. Well, then I will. If you go to discussion boards, the first one is an introduction, and I'll post a quick link to that. Just tell me who you are. One of the things I like best about teaching here at A&M is that I get to know all of my students, and when I was checking the roster, I do see that I have a couple of recidivists. And so if you could just introduce yourself, tell me a little bit about you, what you like, maybe some apprehensions that you might have about the course, what you're looking forward to, things like that. I'm glad to hear from you. Please send me an email if you have questions. I think that's it. You guys, I'm looking forward to the course. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.